Hello, I am SuperViperT302, and this is my Pack and Roll Remix All Pac-Dots submission. So the goal of this category is to beat the game as quickly as possible, but in every non-boss level, you must eat every Pac-Dot. So this is a bit of an interesting category in itself, so let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So the first thing I'm going to explain is how to go fast in this game. We have a bit of a boost feature that you're seeing right now. Where if you shake the Wii remote, then you get a small boost of speed that moves Pac-Man in one direction, and this is the key mechanic to going fast in this game, but when you do it off of a slope, you get a nice little boost of height, and you'll be seeing that abused several times throughout this run, for like some minor skips or whatnot. Whenever we need to gain height for something important. So, right off the bat, you're noticing a few differences from any percent or even all ghosts, because I have to go be a bit more thorough with my progress in these levels. Excuse my nunchuck there. I don't know what just happened. So that level, as you can see, is already a few seconds slower than 90% because we kind of have to go out of our way to collect a few Pac-Dots. And this level is going to be a lot longer as well, but fortunately we can just kind of clear out each section as we go, so we don't have to do any annoying backtracking or anything. There's some Pac-Dots in here. This level is annoying because there are two really... I need that. And I also need this ramp to be oriented the right way. There are two really well hidden Pac-Dots that for a while I didn't know existed. And you'll see them here in a little bit. It's actually kind of stupid that these even exist. Or that I don't even know how Namco is expected this for you to find these. Like, it took me 2 years to find these Pac-Dots. See that little hole right there? You go in here, and they are. I used to think that those Pac-Dots just didn't exist, but apparently they do. And because of that, now this category is actually legit called Pac-Dots. So aside for that control malfunction, we can just ignore that. That shouldn't be a problem. And I'll make sure, and if it turns out to be an even bigger problem, I'll make sure it's resolved by the actual event. Right. Go back here to break that box. As I'm boosting into those boxes, I'm hitting Z to break Pac-Man because it stops him in place and keeps him from, flying all over the stage. Because we don't want that. We don't want to just boost into a box and then have Pac-Man just go flying off the stage and possibly die. For the most part, this category is just kind of moving about. You get to see a lot more of the stages here, rather than in 30% or even all ghosts. There we go. Although it's still pretty short. Alright, so in 1-4, we're introduced to Night Pac, who moves a bit slower and is a bit heavier than normal Pac, but he can break straight through wooden boxes and break metal boxes, which normal Pac-Man can't do. One thing that's important for this category, I only got one. He's invulnerable to those spears, so you can actually just kind of use them to kind of give Pac-Man some momentum, which is kind of helpful. So right here we're going into a couple rooms you wouldn't normally see much of in the shorter categories, just because we just kind of have to go through here to get some Pac-Dots. Like this underwater section, I don't know how many people figured out about this one casually, but it's really nice. It's a nice little. It's nice going into places you wouldn't normally go to in standard 80% runs. We're gonna head over here, and now we're gonna clean out the last side just like in every other category. I should end here with 96, and I am, so that's good. So we're just gonna break this box with some Pac-Dots, grab these, and then turn around, and hopefully this. Okay, that's spear wrecked me, but it wasn't too bad. You don't take damage from those, so we have. Alright, so now it's time for 1-5. This level can go a variety of ways. So let's see how this goes. There's a couple of Pac-Dots that are hidden here that I need to keep track of. These three right here, they're very easy to miss. I've actually missed them in rooms before. I don't really run other categories very often. So we did a little mini skip there, as you can see. That's just kind of a demonstration. This is Light Pac, by the way. Light Pac is really broken in terms of its physics. It goes really high when you do a slope boost or or bounce off a bounce pad or whatnot, and is also a lot floatier than normal Pac-Man. So he lasts in midair a little bit longer. So here's some other hidden Pac-Dots that I don't know if most casual players would find them. Alright. This last jump can be a little risky, but thankfully, if you happen to miss any of those Pac-Dots, which thankfully I didn't, then you can just head back to that final platform and continue from there, and it's not a huge deal. Alright, so here's 2-1. A bit longer in this category. We're gonna be kind of going all around in this category here. So I'm gonna grab Night Pack, go underwater, grab these power pellets, these Pac-Dots, and then grab Light Pack, and then over here. I'm actually gonna ditch Light Pack because getting across those platforms is actually a lot faster with normal Pack. And also, okay, as much as you'd like to believe that's possible, I don't think it's possible RTA to actually make this in one cycle. You at most are probably going to miss one Pac-Dot here. So I'm probably gonna have to wait an extra cycle on these, but it's alright. These platforms aren't on global cycles, by the way. They kind of start moving once Pac-Man gets on them. Oh, shoot. I moved a little too far there. It's very easy to do that. You have to be pretty close to the edge to get these Pac-Dots in the right cycle. Alright, there we go. Now, I can hopefully get off this platform. And now I'm just gonna boost down here and grab the remaining Pac-Dots. So most of these stages are going to be kind of played as intended. There's a few small things I'm going to be doing throughout that you aren't normally intended to do. There's still quite a bit of sequence breaks. Again, mostly at the end of the run, but we'll get to those when we get to those. Alright, there we go. That's all Pac-Dots at that level. I'll know when I have all the Pac-Dots, not only from the counter in the upper right-hand corner, but once you collect every Pac-Dot in every stage, you get a little fanfare. And so that's usually a good indication. So this stage is going to be a little different. I'm actually going to take all these boost pads so that I have an opportunity to get all these Pac-Dots. So in this normal categories, you would use these bounce pads here to skip up to the higher sections of the level, but because there's some extra Pac-Dots, we're going to do that a little bit later. Alright, taking this rightmost bounce pad is faster because it propels Pac-Man with better momentum. Alright, there we go. I can still do the same skip here, but I have to be a bit more careful because these two Pac-Dots are really easy to miss. So thankfully I got both of them. So I'm actually going to be beating this level 100% because I also got both of the ghosts. So if this were 100%, this actually wouldn't be too bad. Another thing that's important to note about all Pac-Dots is that because you're collecting all of the Pac-Dots in all the stages, skipping all the skates, it could theoretically be faster, but for this category, it probably wouldn't make much of a difference because they're just going through them. And I doubt many of them are really safe. Probably do that. Alright. So now we're going to be moving on to the second section of the level. This section is really difficult. I'm probably going to have to backtrack for some Pac-Dots. Yeah, I already have to backtrack for one. It's really hard to control Pac-Man's momentum with the boost you get from these boost pads, and also with the sloped nature of this area. It's really hard to keep Pac-Man going in control enough in order to grab all the Pac-Dots you need, but that didn't go terribly. You can usually spend up to around as many as 5 seconds just trying to get one Pac-Dot, and that's probably going to happen frequently. That happens a lot in this category. Go about here. That section's usually pretty annoying to route out in other categories, but thankfully since I have to grab every Pac-Dot, it's pretty self-explanatory. Alright, so I already missed a Pac-Dot there, so I'm just going to get it on the second go around. Cost me a few seconds. There we go. Go down here now. Usually mixing one on that first section is kind of bad, but usually, because you don't have a whole lot, there isn't a whole lot of room here, usually mixing it on. Alright, I went the right way this time. Yeah. Happened to get a little lucky there. Alright, so now it's time for the first boss level. Boss levels are basically the same in every category. The power pellets respawn infinitely, so it doesn't really make sense to make this, an all Pac-Dots category when you would just basically be stuck in the level for all eternity. Maybe they have a limit? I don't know, but they probably don't. So, boss levels are pretty straightforward in this game. The power pellets will always appear in the same spots, so it's just knowing how to get to them quickly. On these third power pellets, I do kind of wait for all this to show up in this fight because otherwise I have to chase him down and that can take a really long time. Right here I'm using Night Pack, not only so I have that rock out of my way, but so I can grab that power pellet a little easier. And it does. And while Night Pack does move slower, it doesn't really waste any time because I still have to wait for all this here at the end. Right. There we go. So that's World 2 done. World 3 is a very, very annoying world in all Pac-Dots. Probably the most annoying, if I have to say. This first section, I'm just going to ride on this car. In order to make things a little faster, once I reach the end of this level, I'm going to hop off here, feed escape some Pac-Dots, and then head back to this elevator platform, which doesn't lose me any time and makes it so that I have to wait less time when feeding the Pac-Dots to the gate there. So I'm going to grab Night Pack because there's a bunch of power pellets and these metal boxes here that I need Night Pack to break, and power pellets do count towards your Pac-Dot total, so I need to make sure I get those. I'm going to try to eat Inky in this section, not because I need to, I was a little slow so I didn't get to, but because it makes it a lot easier to play through the section. I was a little too far. In order to get here with Night Pack, you kind of have to either just kind of blindly go for it, or I set myself up so I'm on the far side of that platform, and then I can just go for it. I'm going to eat Inky there just to make this part a little easier. You kind of have to do the same thing here. You just kind of go as far back and then just hold straight left, and then brake as soon as you land so you don't go flying off. Alright. So this is the last section I have to clear out, and then after that I can move on to the second section, which is actually a bit more interesting in this category. Because I don't get to skip the car, but it's interesting. It's interestingly routed here. So the interesting thing about this section is that there are certain platforms where there are actually Pac-Dots underneath the platforms. First of all, I don't know how you're supposed to find these in casual play. I don't know how you're supposed to think about this. Yeah, there's one here, and then there's two more. So I did those ledge grab hops so that way I could beat the car there, and that way I can basically I don't have to wait an extra car cycle. So I'm actually going to save that little roll of Pac-Dots for later. I'm going to go over here. Actually, that doesn't matter because I have to grab a Pac-Dot from here anyways. I almost forgot about that one. So thankfully I missed that. So now I'm going to grab these Pac-Dots, and I'm going to ledge grab hop over here. I'm going to grab these. I'm going to do a slope boost to the final platform so I can get the remaining 12. And that'll put me at 115, and that's how many there are on this level. Now we're going to go to the gate, and that's it. Thankfully you don't need Night Pack for that section. So here's 3-2, another pretty interesting level. Because there's some underwater Pac-Dots here you don't normally get to collect in other categories. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna use Night Pack, not only so I can break over this metal box and get this power pellet, but there are, again, some underwater Pac-Dots that I need to collect. You technically can probably get them without Night Pack, but it wouldn't really save them. It actually would lose time here. So yeah, there's 2 sets of 4 Pac-Dots over here, which most players would probably not be able to feel out. Now I'm going to go all the way around here because there's 3 extra Pac-Dots here that you don't get in any percent or all ghosts. I don't know if I missed one, but I'm going to assume that I didn't. So I grabbed Normal Pack there. It's possible to inch past that Normal Pack card, but Normal Pack moves a lot faster than Night, so it just kind of evens out at the end. And this is a little easier to handle. And I don't actually really need to eat Blinky, because like I said, you can skip the Normal Pack card and he doesn't have a power pellet on him, but like I said, it just makes it's just a little easier. Because I need Night Pack to break that box. That was a really good 3-2. Yeah, that split golded. I kind of expected that. 3-3 is another pretty interesting stage in this category. This first section isn't too bad, other than you just kind of have to break that box to get that power pellet, but you can still make the cycles. It's the second section where things get a little bit more interesting. So, here on the fastest cycle possible. Or at least the fastest cycle you can make an RPA. This is where things get interesting. There's a very, very good chance I'm going to die here. So I'm going to go for a strat here that is very difficult and I'm probably not going to get. I didn't get it. But I got all the Pac-Dots, so it doesn't matter. It actually is possible to make that, but no. It's really hard, but thankfully I also don't need light pack for this section since I can just go over here and still grab all those Pac-Dots and make that. You don't need light pack to do that. You can actually make that with night pack, you just have to boost in that. There. This third section isn't too bad. Although getting all the Pac-Dots can sometimes be a bit irritating. Their hip is, you do cause a Pac-Dot to kind of home in on you once you get really close to it. But you do have to be within a good range of it, and it seems to only really work when there's multiple Pac-Dots in the same area. Alright, sorry about that. The game's gonna autosave here, by the way, because my life count changed since I died. The game will also autosave if I happen to beat an IL time, but in this category that never happens. And I also have my scores maxed out, so I won't save from that either. Alright, so 3-4 is pretty self-explanatory level. Just kind of have to go through here. Alright, so I'm going to ditch Night Pack for a little bit here. I'm going to go underwater and grab this Normal Pack card because Normal Pack moves a lot faster than Night Pack. A lot easier to control. This does come with the slight disadvantage that I will have to eat a ghost in the seconds in here to get a night pack card because there are still some underwater Pac-Dots that I can control at. Alright, so I'm gonna try to grab these. I'm gonna grab the checkpoint here just to be safe because if you fall into these holes, you die, and I really don't want that to happen. Alright. Thankfully, it's not very easy to fall into the holes. I've had my moments. So I'm going to activate the card, grab Normal Pack. So in any percent, in all ghosts, once you collect the 80 Pac-Dots you need for the gate, you can just die and get back to the checkpoint with all the Pac-Dots. But the thing is, I need every Pac-Dot from this ride. If I miss one, I'm going to have to die and restart the entire roller coaster ride, so we're going to hope that that doesn't happen. This is the place where you remove those Pac-Dots, and I did not. So that's good. Right now I can just stay back and just let the Pac-Dots kind of come to me. The next point where I have to worry is at the end, so what I'm going to do, so that Pac-Man's visible on camera, I'm going to move him forward just a little bit, and then I just kind of have to move to the left and right accordingly, and I did the roller coaster on the first try, which is very nice. And I have all the Pac-Dots, which is even better. Oh, nearly fell off there. But I don't think you can fall off there. Alright. I think that's the first time I did that particular route for that section. Okay, so here's the World 3 boss. Like I said earlier, it's the same as it is 90%. Kind of use light pack broken to fly all the way over here. This second phase is the hardest part because I basically need Bulbous to do what I want him to do, and it's very easy to have him just knock me off the edge. Alright, so he gave me the wind attack there, which is kind of neat, because you get 2 wind attacks going at you at once, and it works really cool, but it also can kind of mess with Pac-Man quite a bit. So right here I need to eat the ghosts in a particular way. I'm going to wait until they spawn to eat this first power pellet, and then wait until he's done with the... Oh god, I nearly died there. If I hadn't braked there, I might have actually died, so... Thankfully that didn't end terribly. Alright, so we made it through World 3. World 4, you are already required to collect every Pac-Dot in this, for every Golbus gate in this level, so it's pretty much the same as it is in 90%. This momentum is really screwed sometimes. Like, it's very easy to run into something in this level and then have it accidentally knock you off. Worth noting, though, is that we have looked for gate skips in this level. You can get on top of those little bounce pad things, and then you can use that to get over some scenery, but it's completely useless. You can't, like, skip gates using it or anything. I think I'm on the second fastest cycle here. Yep. Alright. I have to make sure I stay on this cycle, otherwise I'll lose a few seconds. Alright, so one thing I have to keep track of here is after I lower these walls, I'm going to look for a ghost with a power pellet. Right there. There we go. Next up is 4-2. This level is pretty straightforward. There isn't a whole lot to say about it. I am probably going to be taking quite a bit of damage throughout this level, but thankfully there's a lot of health in this. You might have noticed that I have 7 bars of health in the lower right-hand corner, and that's because there's various fruit items you can collect throughout the game. You're actually supposed to start with 3. I have to go back to that. Wait, did I hear? Okay. So you're supposed to start with 3 bars of health, but these various fruit items give you extra bars of health, and since this game autosaves, it's very annoying to have to wipe your memory every single time you want to do a run. So it's allowed to already do that. So I've already beaten the game and have all of those collected, because like the goal of any percent of these games are restrictions, and none of these categories really have that sort of restriction on it, so I'm probably going to take damage at least twice here. Getting through this section without taking damage is already hard enough, but then you add in the restriction you have to collect all the Pac-Dots and it gets even harder. Okay, I'm at 2 HP here, so there's a health bar. There's a health item I can't get here. I got all the Pac-Dots, which is also nice. Alright, so this level is also pretty annoying. I'm going to try to do some boosts across these platforms, but I'm probably going to have to backtrack for a couple. Oh, dang. Oh, dang. Yeah, this section's really hard once the cycles are off. It's really hard to do those boosts once the cycles are off. I should still be able to make the optimal arcade cycle though. It's also hard to do that with collecting all the Pac-Dots. Now here comes the hardest part of this level. Once I get on this platform, it's very, very hard to not miss a Pac-Dot. The timing here has to be really specific. Oh, I missed it. So I'm probably going to die here, because... Alright. Oh, I barely made it. I was not expecting to make that. That was an interesting save. I've never actually pulled that off before. Alright, so this section, the only thing that really matters is I kind of have to go all the way around. So I was actually, basically, I guess I was kind of able to do that without missing too many cycles. Alright. Going around the little bars like that is very, very risky because you have a very small space to navigate in. I'm probably not going to have to do that here. I think they're on good enough cycles. This stage is really, really hard to knock Pac-Dots, so it makes sense that I died here. Time for 4-4. In most other categories, this level is pretty bad because of the amount of boosts you have to do, but in this category, you don't actually have to do that many. Because most of the time when you try to do those boosts, you actually miss out on quite a few Pac-Dots. So the boosts here are basically going to be minimal for the most part. And there's also an entire portion of this level that you wouldn't normally see in other categories. So I didn't get the momentum boost there. This part's a little finicky if you try to do the boosts because this platform kind of constantly tilts. It's very easy to just have it fling you in a random direction. And it won't necessarily kill you, but it will make grabbing the Pac-Dots pretty difficult. I don't boost a whole lot here, by the way, because it's very easy to... Yeah, I tried it there. That's why. I was kind of, you know, demonstrating. So, just don't boost here, and you'll be fine. But that's actually okay, because as I said earlier, if your life count changes, the game will autosave. But I'm actually going to grab a 1-up here to prevent that. If I had grabbed that 1-up but without dying, the game would have actually autosaved because my life count changed, so I'm actually a little thankful that that happened. So I have a few more Pac-Dots I need to collect from here, but then after that I can just turn around and just keep going from here. You're supposed to ride those bounce pads all the way across, but why do that when you can just go off to the side faster? There should be good Pac-Dots here. If I remember correctly, there are indeed 10 at the last little section here. This is where I'm in a really bad position. I'm actually going to slow down here because it's possible for that bounce pad to not give you any sort of vertical momentum So it's very easy. If you miss Pac-Dots, you basically have to die and redo about 30 seconds in the level because checkpoints are sparse. So here I'm going to use a glitch that Joester98 found. That basically, if you boost at the exact same time that you're grounded on a bounce pad or lava, then you enter the boost state while still kind of getting the bounce from the bounce pad. And it's used a lot in this level because there's this bounce pad section coming up. Oh boy. That's actually nice that I thought that pushed me there. Okay, that's not nice. Yeah, once you fall off, it's really challenging to recover. Alright, so that's called bounce boosting, and it's heavily abused throughout this level, especially right here. Get some bounce pads. I would grab that health, but nah. I like to play it risky. Alright, so this is lava boosting. This is basically the same mechanic. I'm pretty low on health here. Normally I would do a lava boost across to skip these falling towers here, but I'm actually not going to do that. Because again, I am pretty low on health, and if I die, and if I don't execute the lava boost perfectly, I'll basically just die. So it does lose quite a bit of time to do this, however. It's a little risky here. I was trying to go for a faster cycle there, but it didn't quite pay off. Alright, so I'm gonna grab this health, and provided I can get a lava boost here, I can make this without dying, and I did. Alright, so here's a boss that we used to think was RNG, because Galvus can rotate the platform one of several different ways. But you can actually just slow boost these power balls, but unfortunately I didn't quite execute it properly at first, so I had to wait for the platform to rotate a couple times. On this second phase, you can rotate the platform either left, or either clockwise or counterclockwise. It doesn't really matter. I actually got the faster of the two RNGs, but it's really only a difference of a couple seconds. And now the platform's going to be it's going to be reoriented a little late into the third phase, which actually makes it a little harder. But not harder. So I can just flop bounce for these final parallels on this third phase. 5-1 is probably the longest level in this category, just simply because of how big this level is. But it has some of the coolest routing, by far, and you'll see why once we get to the end of this level. So I'm actually going to be collecting basically every Pac-Dot from these first two sections on this first go-through, even though I will be returning to this section eventually. This part can be annoying. Sometimes it's possible to get stuck on these gears, and you just kind of have to boost to get out of it. Really mess you up out of a couple seconds. Here's a slow boost you can do to skip timing up some of that section. Saves a little bit of time. Alright, so I'm gonna have to go back to that Pac-Dot, but thankfully there's an easy enough backup for it. It might be over here. Let's do it. Just kind of get up here and then slip boost to get over to this gate. That's a nice little backup strat that I found. So I'm in the third section level. This is where things start to get really interesting in terms of the routing. Get over here, grab some of these. Break this box so I can grab some of those. Over here, break this box to get some more Pac-Dots, and I'm going to head over here and break this box to get Night Pack in. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to grab Night Pack and do that. Try that again. There we go. Okay. There's power pellets, there's Pac-Dots and whatnot hidden in basically all these boxes. I think I'm short one, but we'll find out. We'll find out later. I don't actually need to worry about. I think I'm supposed to be at 129, so just to make sure I don't break these boxes. I just want to make sure. I don't actually have the positions of the Pac-Dots memorized for those boxes, but I have a general idea where they are. Oh dang. I'm not gonna grab that. Yeah, I need Night Pack. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna backtrack through this through this level. I'm gonna backtrack through here because there's a bunch of Pac-Dots in metal boxes, and you don't have access to night pack until the third section of this level. Okay, I need that, but I don't want to grab those. So I'm gonna be a little closer. This, like that, right here. So I do that slope boost because now I'm at the third section of the level. That is actually only advantageable if you have night pack, because that's the only way you can still backtrack to that third section. You can't use that to like skip gates or anything. Right, there we go. So that was pretty bad. But I kind of played it a little safe. Anyways, 5-2 is by far one of the coolest levels in this category. Just because there's a lot of really neat strats. I'm basically gonna... You would think that because of how linear this level is, I'm gonna have to basically go through the entire level. Yeah, this is really cool. You can do all of that in just one cycle. But there's actually a few minor skips I can do because not every section of here is a Pac-Dot. Alright, coming up is a really cool strat where I'm going to try to crisscross across these platforms. I get it. A little skip here. And I got another skip coming out here after I grab all the Pac-Dots. I'm going to boost to a lower section of the level. But the distance is just small enough so that you can make these jumps without dying. Alright. I'm going to go for some more crisscrosses here. Ah, I would have made that, but I missed the Pac-Dot, so I had to go back for it. This third section of the level, this final section is a little tricky with these hammers. I got lucky there. Sometimes if a hammer blocks you, it'll just fling you right to your death. Because, I mean, this is the final world. Golvis is doing everything he can to try to kill you. But that went really well. I got to show off all the strats. This level is also pretty short considering it's in World 5. I actually golded that. Wow. So, this level also has some really cool strats. Coming up is that I'm going to roll across a gap that you wouldn't think I'd be able to roll across. Like that. But it turns out that the beginning of that section is actually kind of sloped. So that's the reason why you're able to roll across that gap without just bonking into the wall. Yeah, there's a lot of Pac-Dots here, but it's very hard to backtrack if you miss any. Also, here's a tiny skip I'm going to do. That skip actually saves around 10 seconds. So, pretty nice. There's a lot of those. This part's on cycles, but it looks like I got really good cycles with these bounce pads here. Alright, so I'm going to attempt... okay, I'm going to have to wait here. I'm actually going to do something here called a gear clip. I'm going to ledge grab, and then hop up, and it's going to place me inside the gear. Alright, so I'm going to try to death abuse here. Okay, I'm actually not going to death abuse. It probably would have been faster had I gotten a bounce boost there, but... Alright, here is 5-4. This is another really cool level in this category. There's a lot of really neat strats here. Especially in this first section. I'm gonna go up here, grab these 5 Pac-Dots, and come back. On this freeze pattern. Okay, I nearly died there. It's very easy after rolling there to try to... If you don't stop completely, you can just fall off the edge. And here's the gear skip. There's a couple seconds. This still has the same cycle skips as in the other categories. I can just kind of skip a cycle by going around that gear there. I'm going to do the crisscrosses again here. It's different in this category because there's an extra set of crisscrosses I have to do because there's some Pac-Dots in the platform that I need. Right here. There we did alright. Alright, so this hammer might pop me. This final section of the level is pretty interesting around it. It's not going to be what you expect. So there are Pac-Dots in several sections of this level, but it's important to note that I am not going to grab that checkpoint. And that's actually really important. And I'll explain why in a few seconds. I also want to grab this one up here, because what I'm going to do is after grabbing this 91st Pac-Dot, I'm going to fall off and die. And this will place me back at this checkpoint, and I can just do the 5-4 skip. So I can just jump to this final set of the gears using a life pack. And that actually saves a lot of time. Actually, it only saves around like 5 seconds over doing that section normally, but it's still it's not time save. This is a speed run, I'm going to save time over again. Alright. We're on to the final boss fight, and just like the other fights, the power pellets will always appear in the same spot, so it's just a matter of getting to them quickly. And not dying, because if you die in a boss fight, you have to redo the entire fight. This fight is in 2 phases, though. And the second phase is kind of cycle-based, and also has really good music. So I guess I should probably explain why this category should be accepted. This category is, as you can tell, it's a lot longer than normal any %, but that's also a good thing, because you get to see more of the levels, and it's just kind of different, you know? It's kind of the exploration category of the mess. So here we go, so this is the final boss here. I'm unfortunately not going to world record or TP this run. Unless I boost into those ghosts, because boosting is the only way you can eat them. And I want power pellets from them. Because I'm boosting into them, I'm breaking with C. Because like I said earlier, if you don't, you just fall off the level. You just fall at the end of the level and die. So you don't want that. It's good that I didn't eat that 3rd ghost by accident, otherwise I'd be in big trouble. Time is going to be when I eat all this for the final time. There we go. And time. Wow, I golded the last 4 splits. That's kind of interesting. So 36:33 is plus 42 on my... It's 42 seconds off of my world record / PB. This is a very interesting category. It has a lot of neat strats, a lot of really cool movement, and it's just kind of an exploration kind of category, and it's really fun. This is a really fun game. If you... Please consider all the categories I'm submitting, but definitely give this one some consideration as well. It's still a really enjoyable category, and I think people will really enjoy the movement and especially the end of the run is full of some really nice tech. So with that, thank you for watching, and thank you for considering this run.